During my time in Novo, I managed to get tons of views to my articles and managed to release an article on a weekly basis. To release this amount of articles every week, you would need to have a very good system and tactics. Today I'm going to show you what I have done every week. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nevo. Welcome back to the channel. I'm a full stack developer with over 10 years of experience doing marketing for the last 3 years. I mainly talk about open source, tech, and marketing. I've managed to grow Novo from 0 to 31,000 stars in less than 2 years. And lately, my startup, Gitroom, was declared as one of the fastest growing tech startups by Runa Capital. So when writing articles, there are usually two types of articles. There are articles for SEO and there are articles for browse. So let's break them down. SEO is usually for research. It means that people are looking for it over the internet. To make SEO articles, you would usually go and do SEO research with platforms like SEMrush and Ahrefs and find keywords that should be in your article in order to, after that, be ranked on top of Google. The main problem with this approach, especially for tech, is that most companies create a new category for themselves. It means that there is no other content over the internet around this subject, and it means that a lot of people are searching for this. So creating this kind of article would usually not give you a lot of traffic. You would not find good keywords. The good thing is that it's very good for attribution, because if people start from your website, then you can kind of track what they are doing. So you can see, okay, they landed on this article and then they go to another page and they converted to be my customer. So this is really good compared to browse article that we will talk about soon, that usually have a bad attribution because it's not posted on your website. So the second thing is browse. Browse is very different from SEO. It usually doesn't have a lot of SEO inside. It has a more clickbaity title, clickbaity content, and people would usually find you by browsing the internet. So let's take an example. I can post a crazy article of how I landed my job in open source, and then it will appear on the Google Discover feed. It means that if people open their phone and look at Google, they will see this article. It's the same thing when I'm releasing a video on YouTube. I'm not pushing for SEO or to people to search for this. I'm looking for people to find it in the suggested feed or the next video. SEO can be mixed with browse articles. Sometimes it's very hard, but for example, in Novo, I've managed to rank very high with keywords like React and WebSockets, but also got a lot of browse from people for those articles. Those kind of articles are not so good for attribution because usually people will not land on your website. They will land on a publication website like dev.to or Medium, because those are the ones that Google is tracking all the time. And once they convert, they will go to your GitHub. So you won't know that they came from the article later. The good thing about SEO is that those kind of publishing websites like dev.to, Medium, and so on, they have a very high domain authority. So you can see sometimes that if you release your article both on your website and another website like dev.to, the dev.to one will be higher ranked in Google because they have a higher domain authority. So this is where it's really important to add a canonical link from your dev.to to your website, so Google won't punish you for duplicated content, because Google will probably assume that the duplicated content coming from your website and it's not the dev article, because dev have a very high authority. So in my time in Novo, I was focusing mostly on the browse because we created some kind of a new category called notification infrastructure. We were one of the first people to market this kind of stuff. We even coined the phrase notification infrastructure. So the way we've done that is using Notion. We would create a page on Notion with all the titles of the articles that we want to write. And then we would create templates that we can set up a Notion page with things like the author name, the brief, the loom, and every other detail that we want to give the content writer to write. Then we will actually share the Notion with the content writer, so they will be able to write directly into our Notion. We don't want it in any Google Docs or something like that, and I will explain to you why. When we wrote the titles for the articles, we tried to see how we can even get more traffic by incorporating other companies inside the articles. Let's say we've seen that Supabase like to publish other people on their page if they write about them. Great, let's add them inside the article. One time we have used super token and they've also reposted our post. This is where you write bigger use cases for the article. This is really important for browse, because browse shouldn't be like super focused around your company, because the audience for this is really narrow. So instead of saying something like how to use Novu, we would say something like how to build a forum. And inside this forum will be Supabase and super tokens and Novu. And then the first thing we usually tell the content writer is to write the code inside of GitHub, because most of the browse article we have written were articles that was supposed to implement some use case with code. So they would start with GitHub and they would push the code into GitHub. Then only they would write the article. Now here's something that you need to know about content writers. They are usually very, very bad at marketing and they don't even think about it, especially content writers for tech. So what you want to do basically is let them write the entire article, fix everything that doesn't look so good for you, of course, everything inside of Notion, and then you do the editorial. The editorial means adding the right cover picture, adding the right title, and adding the right subtitles. You want a very good call to action inside of the article to go to your GitHub repository or your website and to take action. It can be give us a star, make a pull request, register to the cloud, anything that you want. This is how you build a system, because you want content writer finishes, you go to Notion, you fix it, and you publish it. And the best thing about Notion is that when you copy from Notion, it exports everything in an MD format. An MD format is supported by many websites like dev.to, or if you just do it as an MD inside of GitHub. Then from there, you can copy it to other websites. What I used to do is I used to take the article from dev.to, and a few days after it gets some traffic and people are looking at it, I would cross-post it to Medium, Hashnode, and HackerNoon. And I've used somebody from Upwork to do this job for me by paying them $5 to repost it in every platform, because I'm trying to create a system. Today, you can use the Gitroom platform and it can cross-post the article for you in all the other platforms. If you love this content so far, please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me a lot to understand if people actually like this kind of content and to understand what people like more, so I can focus on that. Now, when you post it, you always have this question, should I post it from my content writer account or should I post it from my account? And my answer to this is almost always post it from your account. This is super important because you are building an authority over the platform. Over the last year, I've managed to grow my dev.to followers to 20,000 people. So it's super important that people be recognized with you. Also, you're the one working in the company. This content writer tomorrow can be busy, die for some reason, or something can happen that they won't write any content for you and you will lose the entire authority. This is why it's really dangerous to put everything to your content writers. However, if you have user-generated content that happens over time from different people, this is okay when it's being written by other people. And if you find this content interesting, please go ahead and watch my previous video on 6 tips to get authority with intent to your GitHub repository.